seat because I'm just waiting for death around the corner. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel, King Nikki TV, where I give you commentary on popular movies and TV shows. In this video, I will be recapping and reviewing the very first episode of the new HBO Max series, The Last of Us. Now, when I went into this show, I did not know anything. All I knew was I did not see any previews. I just knew it had Pedro Pascal, the guy from Game of Thrones, as well as I just saw him in a movie with Nicolas Cage last year. And I knew that it was going to have the other person from Game of Thrones. Oh my God, a beloved character of mine, something more mine. I can't think of the little girl name, but I knew it was those two actors. I knew it was an HBO original, and y'all know, if you're familiar with my channel, they have the best original content in my humble opinion. I knew it was a video game adaptation, post-apocalyptic, zombie-like virus. That's all I knew. And I was like, okay, sign me up. I'm here. Zombies, horror, HBO, two actors that are phenomenal. So going in, I'm not familiar with the video game. I haven't played video games since I was like 15. So I don't know anything about the video game. And you know what? And I said since I was 15, I don't even know how old the damn video game is. I don't know if it's a current game or an old game or whatever. But anyway, so I'm one of the viewers going in fresh who don't know anything about the game. So we get into this first episode, which I want to say was about an hour and a half. It was over an hour. And yeah, this was a great start to a TV show. So let's just get right into it and set everything up. So you're going to see me looking down at my cast of characters on IMDb because I'm terrible with names. Now, we have of course, when the series first starts, we have to get our character introductions and set everything up. And we are first introduced to Joe, single father, and he has his daughter, Sarah, who is, I want to say, preteen, teenage girl, as well as Uncle Tommy, his brother. And there's no mention of the mom. I don't know if mom passed away or if mom just up and dipped. And the way these characters are introduced, you immediately likable, immediately. And Sarah is Joe's birthday. He's working. He doesn't get a cake, doesn't really do anything for his birthday, but his daughter goes and steals his money to get his watch fixed. I'm presuming maybe the watch has some type of sentimental value. She says, I knew you wouldn't ever go around to getting it done. Now, we see them just kind of going through life. She goes to school. She interacts with neighbors, but there is like this looming foreshadowing of what's to come. When she's at school, one of the classmates is kind of weird, maybe sick. We hear the news in the background as scenes are playing, talking about things that's going on. When she goes into town to get the watch fixed, there's tons of police. So there isn't any direct mention of anything that's going on, but it's just kind of in the background foreshadowing what's to come. Now, I was kind of taken aback when I first saw the little girl, because I thought, like I said, I only just saw like promo pictures and stuff. I thought the little girl from Game of Thrones was his daughter. So then I immediately was like, okay, wait a minute. So if this is his daughter, she must gonna die, and then the little girl from the promo is going to be like his surrogate daughter. So I'm already, first of all, they did really great, like building tension and having you kind of on the edge of your seat. But I'm already on the edge of my seat because I'm just waiting for death around the corner, because I'm like, okay, obviously his daughter is going to die. And there were a lot of different setups where I kept being like, this is it, she's finna die. And one moment that I loved was she goes over to her neighbors, they're elderly, and it's like a husband and wife who are elderly, but then there's also like an elderly mom, and she is deaf. She's in a wheelchair. She doesn't even really move. There's something like, health-wise going on. But while Sarah, the daughter, is interacting. I want to say she was in the kitchen, and you could see the living room from the kitchen. Behind her, you could just see the old lady like moving, weird and opening her mouth and stuff. And I was like, oh, she finna die. She finna attack. Nope, she didn't attack. She was just in the background being creepy. So Sarah gets home, her dad finally gets home, and they get on the couch to watch a movie. Sarah falls asleep, and I'm just like, when is baby gonna die? Because I know it's gonna happen, so I'm just kind of on pins and needles. So fast forward, Joe gets a call. Tommy got arrested. Again, a little kind of like how we keep having stuff in the background happen. Tommy gets arrested. He says how he was at a bar and someone just like attacked the waitress. Was that the virus? Like, we keep getting these little mentions of things happening. So anyway, now I'm thinking his daughter's asleep. He puts Sarah in the bed and he leaves to go bail Tommy out. And I'm like, okay, this is how she gonna die. And he gonna blame himself. And this why the little girl gonna be his surrogate daughter, because instead of being home to protect his daughter, she gonna get killed home by herself while he out trying to bail the old boy out. So the little girl wakes up because it's all kind of ruckus and noise going on. Sound like stuff is exploding. And the neighbor's dog comes over to where she is and she tries to take the dog home. But baby, the dog is like, look, bitch, I'm out of here. Dog take off because she's trying to take him home. And she goes into the neighbor's house. This made me mad. She goes into the kitchen and the elderly man is on the ground bleeding and he gonna say, help me. So she goes in there and walks towards him. And once she gets close to him, that is when she sees the elderly lady eating the wife. And that pissed me off because I'm like, bro, why would you say help me? You should have said run, get out. Don't call what is the little girl supposed to do? Like, how is she gonna help you? That kind of pissed me off because how the hell is that little girl gonna help you? You should have said run. But anyway, I'm just like, but y'all, okay. One thing in the show, we have this zombie-like virus, right? And at the very top of the episode, they give us a little info into this virus. They have this 60s TV show where these scientists are talking, and one scientist in particular is talking about fungus and how fungus can literally inhabit or infect an ant, go up in their brainstem and control the ant. And the only reason the fungus can't do it to humans is because fungus cannot survive in a hot temperature. I think it was like 90 degrees or hotter. And the human natural body temperature, I want to say it was like 90 degrees, 94 degrees, something along those lines. But he was like, what happens if the planet gets hotter, kind of like maybe global warming or something, and the fungus has to adapt to a hotter environment, then it will be able to infect humans and get in our brains and control us. So that's kind of a little information on this zombie-like virus. So something else they have is when, like, what is that thing called? Like the little intro opening sequence that TV shows have, like how Game of Thrones, it was the little map. They showed this fungus growing and as much as I'm a hardcore like horror gore fan, not like you could show me the most disgusting thing, heads exploding, nothing like really like but the one thing that will get me like and like disgusting, for some reason it's like fungus and stuff like that. I don't know why, but that is like so disgusting. So it like made my skin crawl when the old lady looks up, and the way this virus changes the host from what we've seen so far. You literally have the fungus like growing on you and coming out of their mouths. It was so disgusting. It made my skin crawl. And the little girl runs and I'm like, yep, I knew it. She gonna fucking die because daddy ain't here. But she runs out just as her dad and uncle pull up, and her dad kills the old lady, and we got to get in the car and we got to find a way to, get clear. And they're talking about how the virus, started in the cities and we can't go near the city. Y'all, when I tell you, it was moments where I was literally holding my breath. Like, I didn't even realize I was holding my breath. I was just so on the edge of my seat, as they say. There's a scene where they're all riding in the truck. And Sarah's in the back seat, Joel is in the passenger side, Tommy is driving. I was screaming at Tommy, child, because we're trying to figure out where we can go, right? We're trying to go down the highway. Everybody got the same idea. The highway is backed up. So we go off into like the grass area, and where we're trying to go to for plan B, the military is at. So now we're trying to go somewhere else, right? So then we end up on this crowded street. Y'all, I couldn't breathe. The way they shot this was so freaking good. Just, first of all, it looked like they spent a lot of motherfucking money on this show. Money well spent. It looked like they did not waste a dime. Spared no expense, as the old man said in Jurassic Park. But we get the chaos and mayhem of all these people in the street and all this stuff going on, like the scenery when you're looking out the truck windows. And I love how they show like the POV and like Sarah's face as she's looking out the window. And baby, I'm just screaming at Tommy, like, Tommy, get us the fuck out of here. Because anybody knows in like a zombie situation, when you like one of the few people with a car and people trying to like topple your car because everybody trying to take your car. So I'm worried about that. I'm worried about like, what if another car crashes into us? Like I was worried about, it felt like such a sensory overload of trying to look at everything and where to go, what to do. We got threats coming from all kind of places. And we're trying to get out of here. And of course, you never have the car for long in these situations when you're trying to get the heck up out of Dodge City. So we end up in an accident, and somehow the way this crash happens, Joel and Sarah are on one side, Tommy is stuck on the other side, and I'm just like, baby, crawl through the car. We don't need to split up. I hate splitting up. But anyway, they're saying they're going to go to the river, and Tommy is like, look, y'all go and we going to meet up at the river, right? Baby, this was also pissing me off because Sarah hurt her ankle in the crash. So y'all, Joel has to carry this big old preteen teenage girl. And I'm like, baby, you ain't no toddler. This ain't running with a toddler. This ain't running with even a 10-year-old. I'm saying like, baby, you're going to have to endure some pain and motherfucking runt, because Joel is carrying this girl, trying to run, kind of just a brisk jog. Because I mean, how can you really full on run holding a teen girl? And he sees the infected eating on people, and he stops. And I get it. It's the rush of the moment. You're trying to make a decision. You're trying to figure out what to do. But it was pissing me off. Like, baby, why are you standing here? Just run anywhere, somewhere. I don't care. Just run. But he stands there for a minute. And one of the infected look up and sees them. Y'all, this scene was so intense. And I'm sitting here like, baby, you got to run, little girl. But he's trying to run with this girl. He runs into like this diner, I think it was. And he has the infected chasing. The infected is running fast as, you hear me, like they running. And the way they run, it's just like so like out of control. Like, I don't know. It's just, ooh, it's creepy. It's intense. And he's trying to carry this girl. He doesn't have a weapon. He runs in the door. And I'm just like, why you ain't close the door? But I guess, you ain't got time. You're trying to just run. So the infected is like hot on their heels. So we're running, and I'm literally like, what the hell are y'all gonna do? Is Tommy gonna magically jump up and save y'all? Because he ain't got no weapon. The infected is literally hot on their heels. He trying to carry this girl. If y'all stumble, trip, or anything, it's over. So we run out, and we get outside towards like a field, and the infected look like it's just about to get them when he gets shot. And I'm thinking it's Tommy, who just so happened to show up. No, it's military. Baby, in these situations, never trust military, child. Because they gonna always just kill everybody. So we hear the person like trying to talk, how they communicate on their little earpieces. And I found a man and his daughter. The daughter is her. And obviously, just from the one-sided conversation, you can kind of get a gist of what the other person is saying. How is she hurt, et cetera, et cetera. So when he starts saying certain things, I'm just like, Joel, start backing up, babes. Start backing the fuck up. And of course, the soldier shoots them to kill them, because that is always what the government or the military do when it's an outbreak or something. They just must kill everybody, child. So he shoots at them and they both go falling, Joel and Sarah. And Joel isn't shot. We don't really see Sarah in frame yet. And the soldier comes up towards Joel and just like, I'm sorry, and goes to shoot, and he gets shot. And that's when Tommy appears, saving Joel from being shot. But this is when we see that the bullet did not miss Sarah. Sarah is shot. And y'all, this was such... God, a gut-wrenching scene, so well acted, so well shot, and it wasn't even like over the top, like Joel is just like, ah, you know, like going crazy, but the emotion, and then the fact that the way baby had to die, like thankfully she wasn't like eaten alive by the infected, but I don't know nothing about guns in real life, but if you watch enough movies and TV and action movies, you know, two of the most painful places to get shot, your kneecap and your gut. The gut wound is it's like a slow, painful death. And baby was shot in the gut. And everything that Joel is trying to do, trying to pick her up, like, we got to get out of here, he's just causing her more pain. And it's just so freaking sad. It's a situation where there is literally nothing you can do. And then as he's trying to like get her up and she's, you know, in agonizing pain, and then Tommy is just like, Joe. And just from that one word, you could just get so much from the acting. It's kind of like, Joe, baby, she dead. We got to go. Like, Joel, I'm sorry. No, we can do. Like, it felt like he said so much. Just saying, Joe, like, he just said the boy's name. And I was just like, God damn it. I knew she was gonna die, only because I didn't see her in the promo. I thought the other girl was his daughter. So I'm just like, I knew it was coming, but God, it was so sad. And I was like bracing myself for the whole first part of the episode. Like, I know she's gonna die. There's one daughter in the promo. When is gonna happen? It's gonna happen now. But when it finally happened, even though I was like trying to brace myself, I just, Now they threw me for a loop for a minute, because all of a sudden we see 20 years later. And I'm just like, wait, what? 20 years? Y'all, that threw me, and I know it's a video game adaptation, so I'm just like, wait, are y'all skipping over parts of the story? Like, hold on now, what? But the way they did it was a very smooth transition, and I feel like they popped up the 20 years later because it feels like they just wanted to set up the initial moment of outbreak and the start of this, and then it's like, okay, now we can jump into the actual meat of the story and actually living in this post-apocalyptic world. So the 20 years at first when it popped on the screen, I was like, what the? But yes, it made sense, and it all came together, and it flowed very well. And now we are introduced to new characters, and we are reintroduced to the Joel character, who this introduction is vastly different from the initial introduction. He looks rough. He looks like heavy, downtrodden. You know how you see people and it's like you look like what you've been through? Baby, look like he done been living a hard 20 years. It's been hard. And even just the look of this, he's in like this quarantine city, and just the look of how the post-apocalyptic city and world looks. Oh my gosh. It felt like just such detail, and it just feels so gloomy, which I guess how else can a post-apocalyptic world feel? And the way they start off this second half, where we pop up 20 years later, we see this young kid, this young boy, and he is taken into the quarantine zone by soldiers. And this one soldier is talking to him, interviewing him kinda. And they have this little thing that they put on your ear, and it flashes red or green, and there isn't any understanding of what it means, but I feel like universally red pretty much is a color that means stop or danger, something negative, and green is universally a color that means go, yes, something positive. So they're talking to the kid and telling him, you know, we're going to get you cleaned up, we're going to help you, we're going to get you food, toys. Then we cut to the reintroduction of Joe. We see all these people burning bodies and stuff like that, kind of like a work detail type of thing. And that's when we see Joe and one of the bodies. It's a little boy. Y'all, that was so much depressing. That was so sad. I was like, God damn. Then they like flash. So when we first see the little boy, they kind of flash his shoes. And then when we see him dead, they flash his shoes. And I'm just like, baby, y'all ain't got to show us them damn shoes. We know it's that little boy. So it's a good setup of this state of just pure survival mode that everyone is in. But even in that survival mode, it does still feel like there is some level of humanity or humane treatment, because I'm going to presume that the needle that they stabbed the little boy with was something to kill him. I'm presuming. So there is a sense of some type of humanity in that we were being nice to the little boy. We were comforting the little boy, and we didn't just like shoot him in the face or something freaking evil where he sees it coming. It seems like, I'm presuming, he died in a much more humane way. So it does feel like I said, we're in like a survival mode type of world, but there still seems to be some type of hint of humanity still. Now, the setup for the central plot is Joel and Tommy have survived, but Tommy he's out somewhere. Joel is worried and wants to get a truck so he can go try and find Tommy, help him before he gets killed. And we have a truck, but we need a working battery. Now, we're introduced to the character of Tess, and her and Joel have some type of romantic relationship. It feels like a very transactional relationship, though, kind of a relationship of circumstance. We're in a post-apocalyptic world. We help each other survive. We help comfort each other, you know, adult needs we help each other with, etc., etc. Like I said, just very transactional relationship, and I can't tell who needs who more at this point, but it's just a transactional relationship. And Tess goes to meet with the person that they're supposed to be buying the battery from, but this person double crosses them. Tess gets beaten up really badly, but in the midst of this, there's an explosion, and that's when we discover that there is like this military that is controlling everything, and then we have a rebel group. And Tess gets to Joel and she tells him that they were double crossed. The battery was sold to someone else. She's not sure where, but they get info on where the guy is. And on the other hand, the rebel group has this little girl, Ellie, chained up in a room. They come in, they ask her these weird questions. We're not really sure the context of what's going on here. And I love this character of Elle. I would kind of say what you can compare Elle to is kind of reminiscent of the John Connor Terminator 2 version, where we have this kid, which comes off very complex, kind of, excuse me, endearing, but badass, a little dark, all at the same time. I really love the character of Elle so far. And we're introduced to the character of Marlene, who is the head of this little rebel group, or at least this section that's in this city. She's the head of this rebel group. And there's mention of something kind of secret. One of the people working with her is like, what are we doing here? Why are we holding this girl? Who is she? And Marlene dismisses two people and gives the girl like this paper, and she's like, is this real? So they don't really tell us up front what is the mystery around this girl. Now, Joel and Tess are headed to the building to try and exact revenge on old boy that double crossed them and get their battery. And I'm just like, you know what? I bet they're about to collide. This is the other person he's selling a battery to. Now, by the time Joe them get there, old boy who double crossed them to sell the battery, he dead. Marlene group done killed him. And come to find out, he was trying to sell this same battery to multiple people, but the battery don't even work, child. And baby, let me tell y'all, L G code. She was G code in Game of Thrones, and she G code here because the way baby flew, I'm talking about straight up flew out the door to attack Joel was so insane. And baby carries a knife. But anyway, Marlene is shot. The other girl ear is shot off. Reminds me of like this MMA fight I saw one time where old girl whole ear was literally hanging off, like literal. This was real life. Now, Marlene ends up making a deal with Joel and trying to get him to pick up the cause of taking Ellie and escorting her to a location for the rest of her little rebel group. But she had a conversation with Elle telling her, what I'm about to tell you, you cannot tell anyone because you'll be killed with this information. So there's still this looming secret of whatever the mystery is around Elle. And Joel and Tess is thinking she must be the daughter of someone important, and they agree to escort her. And we're getting to later that night. We're trying to sneak out. And we saw earlier in the episode, they literally had like a town hanging of criminals and you're sentenced to death. I guess we ain't got no more in jail. Niggas just die. And if you try to leave the quarantine zone, you get killed. So we have certain threats that we're dealing with as they're trying to get Elle out of the quarantine zone. And that's when we come across a soldier that Joel is, I don't want to say friends with, but friendly with, familiar with. He sells drugs to, which I don't even know the laws and rules of this time. Is selling drugs illegal? Are you not allowed to do narcotics? I'm not really clear, but I'm going to presume because they was doing this on the hush hush on the down low. And this was also everything, which is so well shot, like everything. But this scene in particular, I really loved, as well as that truck scene that I was talking about when the outbreak first happens, because the soldier has his gun on us, tells us to get down on our knees. We're kind of stuck. We don't really know what to do. Joel is and Tess is kind of pleading with the guy like, we'll give you, what did they call it? Because I feel like we don't have money. What did they call it? Cards? Y'all, let me know in the comments. I can't remember precisely, but it was something like, we'll give you half of the share. We'll give you all, and I'll sell you the drugs for whatever off. Like trying to just make a deal so that they don't get in trouble. And that's when we do the little beat thingy. And the little girl gets the red. And the soldier puts the gun on Elle. And this is like PTSD flashbacks hitting Joel this is exactly how his daughter died, from a soldier pulling a gun on her. And he just goes into straight up like animalistic mode of just charges at the guy, freaking beats him down. And what was crazy is, and even on the inside the episode, when they were talking about the contrast and the difference when they're introducing Sarah to the audience and Elle to the audience, completely different in when Joel has to kill the infected in front of Sarah. She has a strong reaction. She cries and she's like, you killed him. You killed her. But, and I was peeping this when I was watching the episode, he gonna beat old boy breaks off of him. And Elle is just like titillated. Like, baby, don't cry. Baby is kind of down with the get down. Like I said, Elle is G code, and her and Joel together is about to be quite the team. But y'all, as the audience, I was in there, I startled my dog because I was yelling, she infected! Y'all, I didn't see that coming. I was like, wait, what the? But this puts context to the scene we saw earlier when she was chained in that room and they were asking her these weird questions. Because just as we find out she's infected, we find it out along with Tess and Joel. And Tess is like flipping out, and Elle kind of panics and goes into, like, we don't really know much info about the virus at this point as far as the audience, as far as being bitten, infected, the time and rate of change, how it spread, etc. So we're getting a little context and info here when Elle is like, I was bit 2 days ago, XYZ about, the rate of change. I haven't changed or whatever. But we're in like a dire mode and we have to just get the fuck up out of here. So Joel gets old boy gun. Y'all, did he beat the boy to death, or did he just beat him down and he passed out? Because I feel like baby got to be dead, because nobody can know this little girl is infected. But I don't know if he beat the man to death or if he just, he just knocked out. But we end up running out of the quarantine zone, and we get this amazing like flash of the city where we have these two buildings that are like collapsed against each other. And it's just kind of a foreshadowing to me of like, what are we going to have to face and go through outside of this city, out here in just the open, no quarantine zone, trying to get this little girl to the group. And the mission is getting the little girl to the group, and then y'all done. But I'm just like, how long is it going to take us to get the little girl to the group? Like, are we talking about we going 100 miles? We going across the country? Like, how is all this finna play out? It was just, y'all. Woo! Yeah, this was a good as first introductory episode, and I was shocked at a lot of things because, like I said, I didn't see a preview. I'm not familiar with the video game. I don't know anything about the source material. So, like, baby being infected, that threw me. I was like, wait, what, y'all? So I'm presuming, but I feel like, okay. Yes, if we find out you infected, it ain't finna be no talking. We gonna kill you. So I get why old girl was telling her no one can know this information, but at the same time, I feel like, wouldn't everybody military, but even though like I said, you can't trust the military in these situations, but wouldn't she be of utmost importance to everyone because she is potentially a cure to end this whole virus? But the sequence as well that showed at the end of the episode with the preview of like upcoming episodes, this damn virus, y'all, like, it's monsters. Like, I'm just like, okay, what is with the virus? Like, it's zombie-like, but it is literally transforming people to the point that, y'all, I could have sworn I saw monsters, like, in the little preview for the upcoming scenes. Like, I cannot wait to learn more about the actual virus and what it does. So, along with trying to, wait for info about the virus to be disclosed, I'm wondering as well, with Elle being infected with the virus, but she is personally immune, how does her being infected with the virus affect the people around her? Can she spread the virus to other people if she kissed somebody? Like, how exactly does the virus get transmitted from someone who is immune from it themselves? Because even if you're immune, you still have it in your system. It just, she doesn't change. She's immune to it. So I'm wondering how that works exactly. And I'm wondering, so Joel, the reintroduction of the character, definitely different from our initial introduction, definitely has this freaking savagery, violence built up in him and accumulated not just with the death of his daughter, but from living in this world for 20 years. But I'm also feeling like, was it a good thing his daughter was killed? Because imagine having her in this world. I might have to pull a Beloved. Like, I don't know if I want if y'all know that movie, I don't want my child do I want my child in this world? I don't know. But this was definitely a really good episode. I am so thoroughly excited. I don't know how the hell y'all be playing video games like this, because I'll be in there just shaking and falling with the damn controller, because My nerves was told the up on this episode. Oh, I couldn't hardly take most of it, but let me know in the comments, what do you think of this very first episode? Are you a new audience like I am, or are you a fan of the game? And if you're a fan of the game, how do you feel the show is doing as far as the adaptation? Because I know the comic book people and the video game folk be serious about they ish. And especially when Hollywood come and make their own little adaptation of it, y'all be mad. So let me know in the comments, if you are a video game person, how do you feel they are doing with adaptation? Are they staying true to the source material, or are they completely off the rails and you pissed that they done messed up your ish? Because as a new audience, I'm intrigued. I'm loving it. I'm thrilled. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you, as always, for supporting the content. And I'll see you in the next one. I will be seeing you every week as we discuss The Last of Us.